Episode 12, Snoopy Knowing. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the YouTube page. The link is in the Instagram bio. Subscribe to the YouTube, like the videos on YouTube, share the videos on YouTube, share the Instagram post that I'm posting every day, y'all. That's how we get the show out here and we could keep growing, you know what I'm saying? Like and subscribe and share. We talking about, should parents be held accountable for their children's crimes? Legally accountable. I put a poll up on the Instagram page, and let me tell y'all what the poll said. Let me tell y'all why y'all don't be knowing shit, and I be knowing shit. We had 50% of people say yes, they should be held accountable. 20% say no, and 30% say it depends. I'm going to tell you the answer right now. The answer is, yeah, you should be held accountable. Yeah, parents should be held accountable if their child out here committing crime. Parents should be held legally accountable. That's the fucking answer. That's the short, easy answer is yes. Now, if we're going to get into it like we're going to get into it, it breaks down into the depends. Because it depends on what the crime is, how old the child is, circumstances surrounding the parent and the child. Then it goes to the depends. But no is never the answer. If you think no, something wrong with you. You're a little bit slow. If you think no, you're a little bit slow. You might not knew you were slow, but I'm telling you right now, you slow. If you say no, you're a little bit slow. Camille in the building. What we talking about tonight, y'all? Let me get my other camera on and let's get this thing cracking, man. Yes, parents should be held legally accountable for their children committing crimes. I put the poll up, 50% say yeah, 20% say no, and 30% say it depends. The 50%, you smart. Y'all smart. If you say yeah, y'all smart. If you say it depends, you smart. If you said no, you're not smart. You're just a little slow. You're a little behind in the class. You need a little tutoring. You need a little guidance. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know what's going on out here if you say no. Because ain't no reason you should be saying no. Black Copper on the chat say people don't want to take responsibility for their damn self. I know they ain't trying to take responsibility for what their children are doing. Them people don't need children. If you don't want to take responsibility for what your child doing at a particular age, you don't need goddamn children. If you don't want to take responsibility for yourself, that's one thing. But if you don't want to take responsibility for your child that you raising, that you teaching, you don't need to have no children. The state need to come get them. Call Child Protective Service. Call them and let them come get them. Black Cabo says to you, the guidance counselor. I'm all type of, I'm whatever you want to call me. I'm here to teach the people. I'm whatever you want to call me. Let's get into it, dude. So hell yeah, you're responsible for your child if they out here committing crimes. Yeah, you should be held accountable. Yeah, you should get some type of legal action taken against you if you're not in control of your child and they out here committing crimes, running around, fucking shit up. Camille say, depends on the situation. I know a new law just passed, DWI. If you hit a parent, you're responsible for child support. Wait, let me read that again. Depends on the situation. I know a new law just passed, DWI. If you hit a parent, you're responsible for child support. Oh, I seen that a while ago. If the parent died, if the parent died, then you responsible for child support, and that makes sense. Nobody shouldn't be arguing that. You can kill somebody, mama or daddy, and now this child got to fend for themselves. Motherfucker, you responsible for this child upbringing now to make sure they clothed and fed and got a roof over their head. Yeah, exactly. It all depends. But it definitely depends on a whole bunch of stuff. The age of the child. You know, if your child, I say if your child's 17, 18, at that point, they pretty much grown and they making decisions on their own, and it's not based on you being home, taking care of them, or making sure they're where they're supposed to be. But if your child is from 11 up to 16, that's your all 100% responsibility. Whatever they out here doing, that's on you. That's on your upbringing. That's on the foundation you the place for them. That's 100% on you. I don't care I don't care if you're a single parent. I don't care if you're a single mother. I don't care if you're a single father. If your child from the ages of 11 to 16 and you ain't got no control over them, and they out here running around committing crimes, yeah, we need some legal action against your ass. Because what is you doing as a parent? obviously it ain't your job. And then it depends on the crime. So check it out. I wrote down a couple crimes that I think, that I know you should be held accountable for if your child out here doing this. Number one, murder. If your child is between 11 and 16 and they done murdered somebody, murdered. You fucking accountable. You responsible. It's on you. It ain't on the child. It's on the child too, but it's ultimately on your ass. Murder. Number one, murder. Robbery. If your child out here robbing people, putting guns in people's face and taking their shit, that's on you. Between the ages of 11 and 17, 16, that's on you. Because where they get a gun from, number one. Where they get a weapon from, number one, as a minor. And what have you taught this motherfucker that got them thinking it's okay to be out here doing this shit? And I don't care what y'all about to say about kids get influenced and peer pressure and all. Everybody got peer pressure. Everybody got to deal with peer pressure. Every child got to deal with peer pressure. But when you got the right foundation, when you got the right things instilled in you, peer pressure only allow you to go so far. Down on Facebook say, can we start with parents having accountability for kids being out of control in the school? It start there. It start in the house, it start in the school, and then it go outside. Parents don't show up to their children's school enough. You ain't involved. That's the whole problem with this. And that's why you gotta be held accountable for your child crimes, because it show up before it get to a crime. You ain't been held accountable before it get to criminal shit. You ain't been coming to the PTA meetings. You ain't been coming to the school activities that your child supposed to be participating in. You ain't doing the homework assignments that's meant for you and a child to interact with and do. It start off before you get to a criminal intent. It start off at home. It start off at school. Then it get outside. And then after that, what can you do? You ain't been doing what the fuck you supposed to do. They running wild out here. And don't forget, y'all, the new thing that we doing is comment of the night. So if you got the comment of the night, it's going to be posted on Instagram. It's going to be posted on Facebook. It's going to be posted on YouTube. And I'm going to let you know if you got the comment of the night. At any point of the night, anybody drop a fire comment, we going to make that the comment of the night. I like Dana's comment so far about can we start with the being accountable in school, because that's where it starts. So many parents not accountable of school. You don't know how many days of school your child missed. You don't know how many homework assignments your child missed. You don't know when they got a test due, when it's midterm. You don't know nothing about nothing. You don't know the teachers' names. You don't know the principal's names. All that lead to the outside shit, which lead to the criminal shit, which lead back to you because you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do from the jump. From square one, you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do. So we got number one thing you responsible for starting off is school. And that start early. That start from kindergarten. That start from a toddler. You hear me? That start from a toddler when you supposed to be in tune and in with that. And that don't stop. If you ain't doing that, and then your child go astray, who we blaming? Whose fault is that? It's definitely your fault. We got James Nash on Facebook just entered the chat. What's up, James? Keita just entered the chat on Instagram. What's up, y'all? Episode 12, we talking about should parents be held legally accountable for their child crimes? I'm telling the answer is yes. I don't know what you think the answer is, but I'm telling you the answer is yes. You motherfuckers need to be held accountable. Murder, the number one thing. Your child out and commit a murder, yeah, you held responsible for the crime. We gonna criminally charge your ass right along with your badass child for murder. Robbery, number two. You out here jacking shit and putting guns in people's face. Robbing them, taking their money, taking their wallets, taking their whatever. You held accountable for that. Carjacking. And this is the number one thing going on right now in fucking America, in the fucking metropolitan and urban areas. These little motherfuckers is running wild jacking cars. Where is your mama? And they all young. 13, 14, 15, 16. Where is your mama and dad? I won't talk to them. Because we got some charges we gonna put on their ass. We got some charges we want to put on their ass. You 13, 14, 15 running around here robbing and jacking cars. They ain't doing what the fuck they supposed to do at home. We need to talk to them. Mr. Officer, lock their ass up. Assault. Your children out here beating people's ass, to the point of damn near debt. What are you teaching them? That's what all this shit come down to. What y'all teaching y'all children, man? What the hell are you teaching? Do they have, children gotta have structure. Children gotta have accountability. Children gotta have consequences for the shit they doing before it get to the law enforcement side of it. Before it get to the school board side of it. Your children's supposed to have all this stuff from home. They should know accountability. They should know consequences from home. It should start with you. And if it ain't starting with you, it's going to end on the criminal side. And we should hold you accountable for that. Because you let them loose on the world with no guidance, no consequences, no right from wrong, no moral compass. It's sad. And we see it all the time. We see all these little boys and little girls, 12, 13, from 12 on up, 12, 13, 14, 15, involved in shit they ain't got no business involved in. Involved in shit. Us at 12, 13, 14 years old, we wasn't even thinking about. We playing hide and go seek and shit. We riding our bike and shit. These little motherfuckers out here committing crimes. They robbing. They got motherfuckers that's 12, 13 years old robbing people. It's riding around your city, your neighborhood, robbing people. Riding around your neighborhood at night, pulling on door handles, going in your car, stealing your items out of your car. Why are you out at 2 o'clock in the morning as a 12, 13, 14-year-old? We got Ariel just joined the chat. We got Nika joined the chat. We got QC Official joined the chat on Instagram. What's up, y'all? This is episode 12. We talking about should parents be held legally accountable for their children's crimes? And I'm telling y'all the answer is yes. I'm not even leaving it up to y'all. The answer is yes. Parents should be held accountable for their child crimes. Legally. They should be held legally accountable. Because obviously they ain't doing something they supposed to be doing and got their child out here. And we got to pay the consequences for you not taking care of your child and handling the responsibilities as a parent. Hot boy Trey in the building on Instagram. We live, man. Y'all shut it live. Y'all make sure y'all like the Instagram right now. If you on Instagram right now, hit that like. Hit that like for me right now. If you're on Facebook right now, hit that like button for me right now. Straight Jigs say finds out the ass. So that's we gonna get into how should they be held accountable? Because the answer is yes. Regardless of what you think the answer is, regardless if you answered that poll I put on Instagram and you say no parent should be held accountable, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't need to argue with you. We don't need to go into it. You're wrong. The answer is yes. And then it depends. And then we're gonna talk about the type of how we holding parents accountable. Jail time, yeah. Fines, yeah. Community service, yeah. Counseling, yeah. All of that shit. You got to be held accountable in more than one way if your child out here doing shit at a young age. 12, 13, from 12 to 16, your child is your responsibility. You there to mold them. You there to guide them. You there to let them know the consequences of their actions before they even got to face the consequences of their actions. You supposed to be putting them up on game. And if you ain't putting them up on game, you throwing them to the wolves. And then when they get out there, y'all crying about how good your baby is, and your baby was a straight A student, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it might be a straight A student, but the motherfucker that missed the last 30 days of school. Where you was at when this motherfucker wasn't going to school? Where you at when they had a meeting at school for the parents and you ain't show up? I get it. Everybody don't come from a 2-parent household. Everybody parent not able to make every meeting. If you can't make a meeting as a parent, that's understandable. But understand there's ways around that too. Ain't no teacher gonna turn you down when you say, hey, I can't make this meeting, but I'm off on such and such day. Could we meet then? Or even if you can't meet, can I call you? Can we talk on the phone? We in 2024. Y'all can set up a goddamn Zoom or FaceTime. You ain't got to go to the class if you ain't able to, but you need to put forth the effort. A lot of motherfuckers ain't even putting forth the effort. They can't make it, so they just don't go. You don't know the child. Well, you don't know what the child progressing like in school. You don't know what they struggling with in school. You don't know if they going to school. As a parent, how you don't know your child not in school? QC Official say a lot of these little dudes don't have parents. Little niggas raising each other. That's a different scenario. I understand that. If you growing up with grandma or grandpa, that's a little bit different. So that's when it get to the depends. Should parents be held accountable? And it's like, it depends. if you getting raised by your grandparent and they 75 years old, there's only so much they could do with you. There's only so much they could be up on game about. There's only so many places they could go. So that's a little bit different. We can't hold them. I feel like we can't hold them to the same standards we hold to your maternal parents, your mama and your daddy. Pecan Candy just entered the chat on Instagram. What's up, girl? Episode 12 of Snoopy Knowing, should parents be held accountable for their children's crimes? And when I say accountable, I mean legally accountable. How many stories we've seen with all these kids jacking somebody's car, stealing somebody's car, and when they find out, they like 16, 15 years old. Or they 12 years old running with 16, 17-year-olds. As a parent, how you don't know who your child friends with? Why is your child friends with? Why is your 12-year-old child friends with a 19-year-old? Why is your 12-year-old child friends with a 17-year-old? Why are they out of your eyesight, out of your house with a 17, 18, 19-year-old? Ain't no excuse for that. Ain't no explanation. Ain't no excuse. That's fucking poor parenting, and you are responsible for what the fuck your child out here doing in the streets. I can't walk the streets safe because you ain't doing your job as a parent. Now your badass child a threat to society. Little motherfuckers. Yeah, y'all gonna be held responsible and accountable. And this all came about because I think it was the mayor of Baltimore. They just passed a law where they holding parents accountable for crimes, certain crimes that's committed by their child. They are holding parents. It ain't a discussion. It ain't a debate. It ain't none of that. These people say this is what we doing. You will be held accountable if your child is out here at a certain age, at a certain point in time, committing crimes. They didn't get into exactly what the punishments was going to be, or accountability was going to be, but like I'm saying, it's got to be some type of time. It's got to be some type of probation, community service, counseling. It's got to be a whole bunch of shit. But the point is they holding them responsible. And that's what, if you're a parent and you don't think you need to be responsible for your child, you are a piss poor parent. If you raising a child and you don't feel like your child is a reflection of you and what they doing is a reflection of you and you not responsible for what they're doing in the street, you a piss poor child. Pecan Candy on Instagram say as they should. Yes, they should be held accountable. That's why I told them. This wasn't even, I put the question out there, but the answer is yes. Parents should be held accountable. I don't care what y'all saying. I'm telling you, Snoopy Knowing, the answer is yes. You motherfuckers need to be held accountable for what your badass children running the streets doing. Say career in the building on Instagram. What's up, everybody? Instagram. What's up, everybody on Facebook? Episode 12 of Snoopy Knowing. Should parents be held legally accountable for their children? McWade just joined on Instagram. What's going on? Episode 12. If y'all on Instagram right now, make sure y'all hit the like button for me. Hit the like button on Facebook if you're on Facebook right now. We on episode 12. Should parents be held legally accountable for their children's actions? Any responsible parent, any parent that's involved in their child's life, any parent that's doing everything in their power with their child, they're going to say, yes, they should be held accountable. No parent that's actually doing the steps and taking the steps and taking accountability is going to say, no, I shouldn't be held responsible for what my 12, 13-year-old doing in the streets. Because they know they're responsible. I'm raising you. I'm teaching you. I'm guiding you. You know right from wrong. Only motherfuckers who be saying, no, y'all ain't really hands-on with y'all children. I don't care how you take it. I said it. That's what I'm saying. If you feel like you shouldn't be held accountable for what your 12 to 16-year-old doing in the streets, you ain't a good parent. You ain't hands-on you ain't as good a parent as you probably think you are. Because you got to know that you're responsible for your child. You got to know what you do is a reflection of me. That's parenting 101. That's parenting 101. I'm not going to have you out in the streets doing this and that. I'm not going to have you in school doing this and that. Because why? Because you're a reflection of me. If you in the streets acting the ass, if you in school acting the ass, that look bad on who? On me. That's parents been saying that shit from day one. Since parenting was fucking invented. You heard me? The parents been saying that. How you act is a reflection of me. So if it's a reflection of you, why you think you shouldn't be held accountable if they doing whatever they doing in the streets? Now, it comes with, like I say, it depends on certain situations. Your child old enough to drive. They done fell asleep at the wheel or something, and they vehicular homicide somebody. They done fell asleep. Or they went to a party. Your child's 16, 17, they done went to a party, and they done been drinking. They probably thought they could drive. It's a dumb decision to make, but they didn't purposely, set out to hurt nobody, but, somebody get hurt, they kill somebody or whatever. I'm not sure parents should be held accountable for that per se. But the things that kids are intentionally, your child is intentionally out here doing some shit, yeah, you got to be held accountable. Accidents, not so much. Mistakes, not so much. But shit that your child is intentionally out here doing, yes, you definitely held accountable. Dana on Facebook says some parents don't want to parent. Hit the pockets because money make the world go round. Government assistance, yeah. Hit their pockets. Hit their pockets. Send their ass to do community service. Send their ass to jail. Something gonna make them, something gonna resonate in their head to where they need to step up and do what the fuck they supposed to do. As opposed to having parenting on cruise control. You can't fucking autopilot being a parent. You can't put that shit on autopilot. So many of these motherfuckers got their child on autopilot and ain't doing what they need to do. They put a fucking tablet in front of their face. They put a TV in front of their face. They put a game in front of their face. And the parents doing whatever and they got the child on autopilot. You ain't parenting. You ain't teaching your children nothing. You ain't showing up for your child. And then when they get in these situations, you wash your hands with them. You been washing hands with them. Yeah, we gonna show your ass. You wash your hands and we gonna wash you up. Straight J say parents gonna hurt them children. Somebody need to hurt them. Parents need to hurt them before the streets hurt them. Before law enforcement hurt them. Facebook. It starts with the parents, and yes, parents should be held accountable. I can't see the name, it's too small. Shelbra Thompson on Facebook said it starts with the parents, and they should be held accountable. That's any responsible parent know that. This shit shouldn't even be a discussion. And it should have been in effect. Parents should have been getting held accountable for what these little bad motherfuckers doing. Straight J say, I'll wring Bryce's neck if you have me on community service. Exactly. If your child got you on community service, your child got you missing work, your child got you got to pay $1,000 fines because of what they out in the street doing, parents will step up then. Parents will do what the fuck they got to do then. Parents will seek help then because now it's on them. It's a lot of irresponsible parents. It's a lot of selfish parents. They don't care nothing about the child. It's all about them. So, it depends, but hell yeah, they got to be held responsible. Ain't no way. I need somebody to come on here. Who say no? I saw a couple people, like I say, I did the poll on Instagram. It was like 20% of people said no, parents shouldn't be held responsible for the kids. I need to know who's saying no. I need somebody to get on here right now and tell me why they shouldn't be held accountable for what their child doing in the street. For crimes committed by 12 to 16. I'm saying 12 to 16. I feel like 17 and 18 is a slippery slope. Because these kids off and out and they didn't develop their mind. They already developed. But if your child from 12 to 16, you responsible for your fucking child, man. You're responsible for what they doing. And if they out here doing shit, robbing, killing motherfuckers and stealing cars and all that, we got to hold you accountable too. That don't mean they off the hook, but you got to be held accountable too. And if you think you shouldn't be held accountable, you ain't a good parent. Howard in the chat on Facebook. What's up? What's up? BK Chica in the chat on Instagram. Episode 12, y'all, we talking about should parents be held legally accountable for their children's crimes. I say yeah. The answer is yes. I'm not asking y'all. I don't care what your opinion is. The answer is yes. Snoopy knowing. You should be held accountable for the crimes committed by your child. Between the ages of 12 and 16, that's all on you. We're going to stick it to you. We're going to stick it to you some kind of way. Whether it be a fine, whether it be community service, whether it be jail time, whether it be counseling, it's something got to happen to the parent to knock them upside the head so they can knock the child upside the head so y'all can be fucking better citizens in society, man. People can't walk around and live their life because you ain't doing your job as a parent. And your child running wild and putting everybody else at danger. Just had an incident in New Orleans not too long ago. These teenagers shooting in broad daylight in a central business district. in broad day, in a business district. Everybody out walking the street, trying to go to work, trying to go to lunch. And your badass child, somebody who you ain't raised right, putting everybody's life in jeopardy because you ain't do what the fuck you supposed to be. How mother said, no sir, parents have other kids they have to take care of. A boy will do what the fuck they want. Wrong. Wrong. What you mean other kids? What you mean they got other kids? What that mean? Because you got other kids, you can't take care of one kid? Because you got two kids, you can't take care of the third? You can't take care of the... What you talking about? What that mean? A boy gonna do what the fuck they want. Children gonna do what they... Listen, we all grew up and did shit that we ain't had no business doing. We all got into shit and did shit we ain't had no business doing. Some of us might have crossed the line a little bit, but some of us, most of us, knew there was a line that you didn't cross. And we knew it was a line you didn't cross because we was raised right by our parents. I go ahead next on Instagram, just join. Erica just joined on Instagram. What's up? We talking about should parents be held legally accountable for their children's crimes. I'm getting into this comment by Howard on Facebook. He said, no, parents have other kids they need to take care of. A boy gonna do what he gonna want to do. And I told him he wrong. And anybody else who say no, they shouldn't be held accountable is wrong. That's your fucking children. It don't matter if you got 5 of them motherfuckers. You responsible for all 5 of them. Who else gonna be responsible for them? Them? They're responsible for themselves. Your 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 year old responsible for themselves? They not. They teaching themselves? They not. You teaching them. You putting them on game. You raising them. And if you're raising them right, it's a certain line you cross as a child. We all do shit we wasn't supposed to do as a kid. We done all did shit we wasn't supposed to do as a kid. But we always, if you was raised right, I'm not saying this 100%. Let me back up. This is not 100% of the time. Of course, even if you raised right sometimes and taught everything right, you still gonna go astray and do what the fuck you want to do. Of course. But I'm saying majority of the time, if you raised right and you taught right, is a line that you don't cross. You still gonna do shit you ain't supposed to do. You still gonna be at places you ain't supposed to be. You still gonna get into shit you ain't supposed to get into. But when you raised right, it's a line you ain't gonna cross. Howard said a single mother with a 15-year-old and a 6-year-old, she work at night. You send her to jail, who would take care of the 6-year-old? Don't go to jail. Don't go to jail. That ain't our problem no more. But that's a good point you made. Now we gotta figure out what's gonna happen to the 6-year-old. That's a good point. But she gotta be held responsible. She might not have to go to jail, like I said. It might not be jail, it might be a fine, might be community service, might be counseling, but she gotta be held accountable some kind of way. Her 15-year-old running wild and she can't do nothing about it just because she's a single mother. Marvin on Facebook, what's up? Just join the chat. QC official says it should be a shared responsibility, honestly. Parenting don't just stop with just your kid, but they not ready for that combo. People don't want you to tell your kids nothing. That's a problem we got now. You can't tell nobody's child nothing. There's very few people that will allow you to check and correct their child. But that's needed, especially in school. Especially in school, it's needed. Somebody should be allowed to check and correct your child. And if you're not allowing people to check and correct your child, you going down a slippery slope, and you done started the process to where nobody can't tell them nothing, nobody can't do them nothing, and they on their own doing whatever the fuck they want to do. But I'm laughing at your girl I had on Instagram saying don't call this government name. I call you government name because you was on Facebook. That's your government name on Facebook, my boy. Pick a platform. You gonna be on Facebook or you gonna be on Instagram? Howard said, I've witnessed a woman tell the police send her child to jail after stealing the car. The officer said, ain't nowhere. Let me see what the rest of that comment said. Got cut off. The officer said, ain't nowhere for us to put them. Listen, bro, I'm not saying this 100% foolproof. All I'm saying is they need to be held accountable. If it's to the point where you telling somebody to take your child to jail, you already failed them already. If it's to a point where you got to tell a police officer to take your child to jail, you've already failed them already, and you should already be held accountable at some point. I don't know what your argument is. The police said they ain't had nowhere to put him. Like I just said, she ain't got to go to jail. This child, if the police ain't got nowhere to put him, that must mean he ain't done nothing to go to jail. Because you do some shit to go to jail, you're going to jail. Maybe she was trying to teach a child a lesson or some shit, but if he did some shit to go to jail, it ain't no request. They taking his bad ass to jail. But the parents ain't always got to go to jail. That's for severe matters. And certain, it's delicate. But they got to be held responsible. You got to get fined. You got to get a ticket. You got to get community service. You got to go do complete some hours of counseling. You and your child. Y'all got to do something. So you just think, talking to Howard on Facebook, you think parents just shouldn't be held accountable whatsoever for their child actions? Criminal actions? I'm talking between the ages of 12, from 11 to 16. You think you shouldn't be held at all accountable? Howard mother said, if you think every person in jail didn't have a quality parent, you're delusional. I think you're missing my point, my boy. You keep saying every. I already addressed the fact that, yes, you could be raised right and you could be taught right and you could have did everything right as a parent, and some kids are still going to go astray. They still going to go down the wrong path. They still going to get involved in shit that you taught them better than. I already said that. But I'm saying majority of the time, if you raise your child right, your child will be a better citizen. If you raise your child right, if you did all the intricate things, but see, people think they've been to raise their children right. People think they've been a present parent. They think they've been a quality parent. And really, they ain't been a quality parent. Straight J said, I wrote a long-ass message for what he said. I wrote a long-ass message for what he said and changed his mind. What? Did I miss his comment? I don't know what you're saying, Straight J. Straight J said if their mama was being held accountable in the beginning, that nigga may have never ended up in jail as an adult. I don't know what homie talking about. Yeah, I don't know what Howard on. If it comes to the point where I gotta tell the police, when it comes to the point of me talking to the police about my child, I somewhere failed my child. You gotta accept that. If it comes to a point where you talking to the police about your 15-year-old, about your 13-year-old, you fail your child at some point. I don't care how you feel about it, what you think, you got the proof is in the pudding. Somewhere you went wrong. Somewhere you ain't do what you needed to do. Howard on Facebook, no sir, some parents don't give a fuck. There should be counseling that must be done when your child commits a crime. That's what I'm saying, dog. Are you not listening? Are you not listening to what I'm saying? I'm saying that. You say there should be counseling that must be done when a child commits a crime. I literally just said that. For the parent and a child. The parents got to be held accountable too. It's not just on the child. If the child got to go to counseling, parent got to go to counseling. I just said that. I go ahead next. How do you recover from mistakes? What do you mean, how do you recover from mistakes? Straight J said he probably missed that part earlier. That nigga ain't missed that part earlier. I was talking to him after he commented. I said that after he commented. It's Kiara just joined. Nurse EMB just joined on Instagram. Howard say I'm agreeing, but every situation is different. Every situation is different. I give you every situation is different. But what's not different is you should be held accountable for your child in some manner. The situation may be different. Crime might be different. The parenting might be different. Parenting situation might be different. But at the end of the day, what ain't different is you should be held responsible for your child in some shape, form, or fashion. I'm waiting on, I go ahead next to clarify what he meant. How do you recover from mistakes? You mean if the child make a mistake? If the child make a mistake, it depends on how big the mistake is. It depends on what the mistake was. Like I said, I brought up like if you were a 17-year-old and you had a party or you had somewhere and you had a couple shots, and in your mind, in your young, undeveloped mind, you think that you could drive your car because you only had 2 or 3 shots and then you end up killing somebody. That's a mistake. You didn't intentionally set out to kill nobody. You didn't intentionally set out to do wrong to nobody, but it was a mistake that you made, but you got to pay for it. I don't know if the parent necessarily need to be held responsible for that. But even if they do need to be held responsible, they don't have to go to jail. But it should be a counseling situation for the parent and the child. I go ahead next say mistakes you made with the child when they were young, fundamentally. That's a good question. How do you recover from mistakes you made when the child was young? I guess counseling. That's the only thing I can see. It's got to be counseling. But that's where something got to happen. Parents need to be held accountable even at a young age with kids in school. It's like I keep bringing up different things that go on at your child's school that you're not a part of. Parent and teacher meetings. Different things that's going on at the school that you never a part of, that you never show, that parent never showed from. It should have a criteria for your child being in school that a parent got to make X amount of visits. Your parent has to be involved in X amount of things to have this child in this school. That's important. See, parents don't think that's important. There's a lot of parents who think that shit don't matter. And that's one of the number one things that matter, just showing up for your children. That mean a lot. And that shit go a long way. You ain't showing up for your child, that shit go a long way. So that's a mistake to begin with. But parents think that don't mean nothing. And that's what I'm saying. When parents think they've been doing a good job. They think I keep my child fed. I keep them clothed. I make sure they go to school every day. I make sure they homework done. I make sure. Yeah. Are you showing up for school activities? Are you spending quality time with your child? Outside of just barking orders at them? Outside of just telling them they need to do their homework? A lot of that shit go a long way, man. Just like a lot of life lessons for your children come during just quality time spent with your child. It don't have to be a barking orders or a teaching moments show themselves all the time. And just quality time spent with your kids that can prevent and deter them from doing something that's going to harm both of y'all in the future. Simple shit. You just going out to lunch with your kids. You just taking your kids to the park, taking them to the bounce house, taking them to other kids' birthday parties. There's a lot of parents who don't do none of that shit and still think they good parents. You're not a good parent if you're not doing none of that. If you're doing the bare minimum of that, you're not good parenting. And you're not preventing what's going to ultimately be your child getting into some shit. And you thinking you're not held responsible or held accountable for it because you've been doing X, Y, and Z. Sassy 504 says some parents do a damn good job, but as that child get older, 15 through 17, they're going to start making their own decisions. That don't mean the parents did wrong at some point in raising them. I agree. I'm going to get back to you. QC officials say bring back the Save Our Sons programs, Big Brother programs. What happened? Shit like that. Black community losing receipts for real. Nah, recipes for real. For real. Yeah, I remember Big Brother, Big Sister program when I was in middle school. I don't know if they have that. Just shit like Dare. The Dare, they don't even have that no more. Telling kids about the drugs and what happened to McGruff crime and all that. I don't think they have none of that stuff right now. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in none of the schools. If I'm wrong, y'all can let me know in the chat. But I'm not seeing it. But back to what Sassy was saying, a lot of parents do right. And once kids get 15, 17, they make their own decisions. I kind of touched on this. Yes. Not across the board, you can't save every child. Not across the board, every parent who doing right gonna save their child. But majority, if you doing right and you doing right as a parent and raising your child right, 15, 16, 17, they gonna make their own decisions, but they gonna make better decisions. They gonna make some bad decisions, but overall, they gonna make better decisions because you was involved as a parent and you took accountability and responsibility before it got to a criminal situation. Keely said, jail or fine the parents that's outside the house. Don't take everything out on the parent that's in the home trying to take care of their kids and teach them right. We gotta figure out what that look like. What the parent trying at home, how you trying. If I'm just using certain examples. If your child 12 or 13 and it's 12 o'clock at night and your child not at home and you at home, and you allow your child to be out 10, 11 o'clock at night at 12 or 13, you a problem. And you responsible and accountable. You should be held responsible and accountable. Even if you ain't home. Some telling me the foundation wasn't laid to where if you at work and your 12 or 13-year-old sneaking out the house to go rob and steal cars, some tell me you didn't lay the foundation already. So I don't care that people think they in the house and doing what they supposed to do. You can't be. Overall, if you're a parent and you work and your child is 12, 13 years old and you were working overnight and you can't trust that your 12 or 13-year-old is not out stealing somebody's car, how do you feel like you didn't fail as a parent? How do you feel that you didn't dot an I or cross the T somewhere along the way? You cannot feel like you did such a fucking perfect job if your 12-year-old is out at 11 o'clock at night while you at work and they stealing cars. You dropped the ball somewhere. You dropped the ball. It's simple as that. You dropped the ball somewhere. Somewhere they needed you. Something you should have done, you didn't do. That shouldn't even be debatable. BK Chica said, I was a big sister. My little sister loved when I came to her school. Straight J said that shit wouldn't work. Why you think it wouldn't work? I think it would work. You got to catch these kids young. These kids love to hang out with older kids. I remember when I was in school and they had it like BK Chica said, that you would be happy when your big brother or big sister came. They played basketball with you or football with you or played chess with you, checkers, or helped you with your homework. They look forward to that. Because they might not, let's just say they don't want to listen to their parents. They feel like their parents old and don't know nothing. If you got a positive role model as, if you 12 years old and you got a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old role model that they more willing to listen to, of course that'll help. Sassy on Instagram said, now those parents definitely need to be held accountable. I think parents need to be held accountable all the way. Nettie on Instagram just joined. Young Dad on Instagram just joined. Loose Booted Dolphin on Instagram. Welcome to the show, man. Episode 12, Snoopy Norm. We've been talking about should parents be held legally accountable for their children's crimes? And the answer is, Snoop telling you the answer is yes. There's no other way around it. The answer is yes. Howard said, it's not that parents feel like they did a good job. The ones who care do feel bad and want help. It's just, let me see, your comment got cut off, though. It's just a delicate line to draw. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you. So you saying what I'm saying. But it sounded like you was leaning more towards the side of parents not being held accountable. It's definitely a delicate line. But parents got to be held accountable. Some kind of way. I ain't saying they all got to go to jail. I ain't saying they all got to be locked up and thrown away from their other children. I'm saying they got to be held responsible some kind of way, whether it be community service, whether it be a hefty fine and community service, double up. Fines and community service and counseling and a fine. It's got to be something to hold these parents responsible and accountable to make them want to go to a step further. When you being a parent, if you're doing a bare minimum, that's a fail. If you're doing status quo as a parent, that's a fail. You got to go above. You got to go a step beyond status quo. You got to go a step beyond the norm as a parent. If you're not going a step beyond, you failing as a parent. I'm telling you right now, you failing as a parent. And it's going to show up in your child's life some kind of way. And you're going to think you did everything you're supposed to do, but you only did the bare minimum. You only did what you were supposed to do. Howard on Facebook say, hell no, me and my son have been in that situation, and me and my mother did all we could, and mistakes were still made. Let me read that again. Me and my son have been in that situation, and me and my mother did all we could, and mistakes were still made. Okay, mistakes gonna be made. It's no perfect parent. It's no perfect child. Mistakes gonna be made. But we trying to stay away from committing these drastic mistakes, these life-altering mistakes. And if it's a drastic life-altering mistake, somewhere y'all dropped the ball. And I think people get so defensive and take defense if you drop the ball as a parent, that's okay. But you got to admit it and own up to it and figure out where you drop the ball. Raising kids ain't easy. Steering them right ain't easy. Keeping them out of trouble ain't easy. It ain't perfect. Somewhere along the way, you gonna drop the ball. But you got to acknowledge it and say, damn, I dropped the ball at some point. I shouldn't have been letting this nigga go play around the corner when he was 9, 10. I shouldn't have been letting him hang out till 11 o'clock at night at 15. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere along the way, you made a mistake that was a domino effect as a parent. We all gonna do it. We all, whether it be spoiling your children, whether it be over punishing your children, somewhere along the way, we gonna make a mistake as a parent, and it's a domino effect. It's gonna lead to something else. But you gotta be able to recognize it and try to attack that and fix that. But if you just keep saying, I did what I was supposed to do, I did what I was supposed to do, and I shouldn't be held accountable, that tell me right there that you ain't did what you were supposed to do. QC officials say strong head of the household, strong father figure. The kids are missing stability. I agree with that. I got 2 girls. I see the difference in how they interact with me and how they interact with my wife. I see the difference in how they listen to me and how they listen to my wife. How many times my wife got to tell them something, how many times I got to tell them something. It's a big difference. Men definitely need it in the household. We definitely got to be held accountable and responsible. We the number ones who should be held accountable and responsible. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether it be something big or something small, men, we definitely got to be the ones held accountable. Howard said, I know when my son went to jail at 13, I felt like a failure as a parent. But when he went at 16, then again at 17, I understood it was him not me, and he had to learn. Now he's 21 and all that is behind him, and he's a pilot, and he's a productive citizen in the world. See, I don't want to make this just a, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to personalize it to one person or one child. I'm just speaking in totality. Like I said, it could be a child that's been raised and taught everything they were supposed to, and they still go astray. I'm not saying that don't happen. I'm just saying in totality, in the grand scheme of things, most kids who raised right, who have boundaries set, who got foundations, who got structure, who got repercussions, and who got consequences for their actions. Every action got a consequence. For most of those kids, they don't go to jail at 13. They may be some that you did all that and they still go to jail at 13. That's why I'm not individualizing it. I'm just speaking in totality. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand it. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is 100%. Nothing is across the board. I'm just saying. We all know. Most motherfuckers who we know who was always in some shit, always going back and forth to jail, we know their parents wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. We know they could hang out a little bit later than the ones who couldn't, who ain't in trouble could. We know they was going places where the ones who don't get in trouble couldn't go. You know what I'm saying? We know they might have been getting shit that they didn't deserve to get. They acting up in school, they getting bad grades, but they still was getting the new J's. They still was getting fresh clothes. They still was getting whatever they wanted. We know that. We see that. And then when they go off and this domino effect trickle down and they commit these crimes, they out breaking in people's cars, they out robbing people, they out killing people, shooting at each other. How do you as a parent think you shouldn't be held responsible for that? How do you think you shouldn't be held accountable for that in some shape, form, or fashion? That let me know right then and there that your child, man, your child is an attachment of you. Is an extension of you. So if your child out doing that and you think you don't have no accountability for it, that tell me you don't already wash your hands with your child. So you definitely should be held accountable. Because they've been detached from you. You've been cut the umbilical cord on them. And they've been out here raising themselves. Learning on their own. Because you ain't been doing what you're supposed to do from jump. Baltimore got it right. For those who just jumped in the room, Sloop episode 12, Sloopy Knowing episode 12, should parents be held legally accountable for their children's crimes? And I got this idea for this topic. I saw Baltimore mayor, they passed a law to where they are criminally going after parents whose child are out committing these acts, whose children are out committing these acts. They holding them accountable and responsible in some shape, form, or fashion. And I posed a question on Instagram, and I got mixed answers. Some people say yes, some people say no, some people say it depends. The people who say no, they was wrong, they slow. I'm not even listening to nothing they talking about. And if you got kids and you say no, you need to go back and start reevaluating things right now. Because you're going to be the one talking about this boy, this girl acting up, and I don't know why, I don't know. It's why, because you don't have no accountability for them. You don't feel responsible for them. That's why. Episode 12, Snoopy Knowing, man. Appreciate y'all. We over an hour. Instagram, appreciate y'all. Facebook, appreciate everybody who joined. One last, let me see what these comments saying. QC officials say parenting don't just stop because your child become of age. I did what I was supposed to do. Worst thing you can say as a parent, parenting don't have an expiration. Agreed. Comment of the night. Just before we got out of here, that is the comment of the night. The comment of the night. Go to QC official. I'm going to read it again, and it will be pinned and posted on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Parenting don't just stop because your kid becomes of age. I did what I was supposed to do, in quotation marks. Worst thing you can say as a parent. Parenting don't have an expiration. Comment of the night. Soon as we was getting over here. Appreciate you, QC official. Straight Jig, I don't know what you trying to QC. Queasy? I don't know what the name is. I'm reading it how I'm seeing it. Whatever your name is, however you say it, you got the comment of the night for episode 12, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Do better with y'all kids, man. And if you don't, you got to be held accountable for them. Don't cry about it. Howard, appreciate your comment, dog. I'm glad your kid 21-9, he done finally bumped his head enough times and he learned his lesson. Good job. Sorry he had to go through that. But we gonna get on out of here, man. Episode 13 next Monday, same time, 8 o'clock. I'm not sure what the topic gonna be yet. But make sure y'all, right before we get out of here, hit the like button. Everybody hit that like button for me one time. Hit that like button. And follow the YouTube. The link is in the bio. Excuse me. The link in the bio on Instagram. The YouTube link in the bio. Subscribe to the YouTube. Shining Star said they have to hold them accountable at an early age. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We getting on out of here, though. You done missed the whole episode. Coming in with your comment. You done missed the whole hour. We over an hour. You done missed the whole episode. But yeah, you definitely got to hold them accountable at a young age. We covered that. Episode 12. Appreciate y'all, man. Good night.